That is why our soul person is the perfect counterpart to our soul. Those who share infinity have a lot to tell. Basically, we know very much and very little about soulmates. The crucial question here is where we want faith to end and knowledge to begin. Those who are convinced of their worldview and are spiritually well-grounded will not have to ask themselves unnecessary questions about their soulmate. He or she is simply there, or at least already exists somewhere out there. Many myths and legends surround these very special relationships. We can only really learn something new about them by experiencing one for ourselves and giving this heavenly partnership a chance. Nevertheless, we would like to present 9 well-known facts here. Number 1. Communication is at the top of their list of priorities. Nothing works without it, and anyone who thinks that soulmates can simply leave it out is mistaken. Of course, it is true that 2 souls share a thought. They're in constant dialogue with each other, even if they're not in the same room or on the same continent. But soul partnerships thrive on communication, which is why it's cultivated and upheld. There is hardly anything better for these 2 people than to be immersed in endless conversations, which can also turn out to be controversial. This lively exchange is complemented by thought transference and reading each other's eyes. If they have no other choice, they even use their dreams to keep the conversation going. Some people are inventive when it comes to communicating, but they can also draw from the cornucopia of possibilities in this respect. Number 2, your relationship is characterized by deep respect. Soul love is never a surefire success. Both partners know the enormous value that such a connection represents. They would never take lightly or underestimate this great asset that fate has given them. Mutual respect should be a top priority in any interpersonal relationship. This applies to parent-child relationships, as well as those between friends, neighbors, or in the workplace. Once respect is lost, all that remains is a paltry remnant of obligation and habit, which will not be convincing as a link. In a soul partnership, both sides are balanced, and both partners are equally important and equally valuable. The focus is always on the you, or at least the we, but never on the I. Number 3, optimism and joy set the pace. When 2 kindred spirits meet, they are always 2 brothers and sisters in spirit. These people do not waste their lives wallowing in artificial misery and pain, or seeing themselves as constant victims. Those who live their lives in negative mode will find it very difficult to meet the person in their life anyway. Friendly, open-minded, and charismatic personalities, on the other hand, are sure to meet their match. Such relationships are characterized by a good mood and a common striving for a life in harmony. Number 4, intuition is your strongest ally. Anyone who has ever experienced the power of a soulmate will no longer doubt the invisible processes between heaven and earth. Ultimately, it was faith and our spiritual conviction that brought us here. Both sides share this certainty and will continue to trust their intuition in the future. It also gives us the final certainty that this one person is the one for us. So it goes without saying that soulmates also share the same worldview and spiritually at least walk on very similar paths. Even those who didn't want to believe in destiny and fate until recently are taught better. Number 5, you want the same from life. Soulmates will not have to agree on where they want to go on their journey together. They want to go in the same direction and share the same likes and dislikes. They also agree on ethics and traditional values. A clear sign that we are actually dealing with our destined soul is a simple detail in this context, but one that is unfortunately sorely missed in many relationships. No topic is taboo. Everything is talked about. If new partners refuse to discuss certain topics, this is always an unmistakable indication that we are not the one for them. Number 6, your life stories are similar. Surprisingly, Kindred spirits have not only been able to gather many similarities in previous lives, in this one too it seems, their previous lives have amazing parallels. Some couples even discover over time that they have mutual acquaintances or friends from childhood, or that they grew up not far from each other. Their family backgrounds and upbringing also show strong similarities. Some soulmates even discover that their family photos and other memories are strikingly similar when rummaging through old photo albums. Such moments are magical and also a little irritating at the same time. But alike is exactly the key word here. Birds of a feather flock together is a saying that was probably invented sometime in the distant past, exclusively for kindred spirits. Number 7. You've never been so sure of something. The beauty of a soulmate relationship is the certainty it brings. On the one hand, we're absolutely certain that this person is the one person for us in life. On the other hand, we can be sure that this love will not hurt us or cause us harm. The partnership with our twin soul feels light and carefree. There are no misunderstandings, ambiguities, lies, or empty promises. You know what's going on from the very first second, and the same applies vice versa. Number 8. Best friends and lovers in one. The image that most people have of love always includes a platonic component, and ideally, it is actually the case that we can be lovers and best friends at the same time with the one person that fate has destined for us. The good does not exclude the better in this heavenly soul plan. This means that neither passion nor fun need to be neglected. Number 9. Soulmates are addictive. There is one tiny little side effect of soulmates that you should be prepared for, just to be on form. Its effect is intoxicating, and the habituation effect is enormous. Once we have finally taken this one person into our hearts and into our arms, we want nothing else. In contrast to the company of other people who quickly tire us out, we simply can't get enough of our significant other. We always feel slightly intoxicated in his presence, and the time we spend together flies by. A life for a life of perfection. The spiritual world assumes that our soulmates are the missing counterpart to our soul, but they don't just complement us, they enrich us and our entire existence. There is that one special person for each of us. However, time is a rather relative matter in the structure of the universe. What is just the blink of an eye for the higher powers feels like the proverbial eternity for us. But two things are certain. Firstly, it is an unwritten law that there is a suitable counterpart for every soul. And secondly, the wait will be worth it 1,000 times over.